Although there were warnings that I frankly wasn't aware of, although there were warnings, I think our preparation was...
Los Angeles, the city of angels, the home of Hollywood glamour, the site of the 2028 Olympics, is telling many of its citizens, just flee, because it does not have the power or the water that they need to stay safe. But the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, is now finally back from Ghana. Joe Biden sent her there for the inauguration. Like, who gives a crap? Why is the LA mayor going to Ghana for some political event? What in the actual F?
Kelly just dropped a truth bomb so powerful it could shake City Hall itself. Karen Bass might still be searching for the nearest exit after that explosion of truth. One moment, she's passionately preaching about transparency, and the next, she's twisting herself into mental gymnastics that could make even Simone Biles gasp. So what exactly did Karen get caught doing this time? Oh, it's wild. The cameras were rolling, the receipts were ready, and Megyn wasn't in the mood for any spin. What unfolded next was a political plot twist, bursting with irony, tension, and drama that had everyone watching in disbelief.
Something. The warnings about these Santa Ana winds being worse than normal and bringing a grave threat were all over the place. You look back at the LA Times now, for days prior to this event, they were jumping up and down saying, this actually could get really bad. And she's over there in Ghana for this ceremonial. What? Why? Get your ass back home.
Karen Bass thought she could keep things under control, but Megyn Kelly had other plans. What started as an ordinary day of smiles, speeches, and carefully staged moments turned into a full-blown spectacle. Los Angeles might have looked calm from the outside, but Megyn arrived like a storm, armed with receipts, iced coffee, and that signature grin that warned something big is about to drop. And when she delivered, oh, she didn't just expose the cracks, she shattered the whole performance into a million glittering pieces of political chaos.
Cruz fleeing Texas in the middle of a deadly crisis is part of a larger pattern of the GOP abandoning folks in crisis. We need to build a movement to kick them all out. Well, how'd that one go, madam? Is that part of your pattern on your team to abandon folks during a crisis? I mean, I realize you sent a couple of tweets, but in this kind of situation, people like to see and hear from their leaders. And you were in Ghana enjoying yourself.
It all began with something tiny, one of those quiet political slip-ups that most think will vanish unnoticed, but not this time. Those little no one will care moments always come back, especially when Megyn Kelly's radar starts flashing like a gold detector near treasure. Suddenly, Bass's calm and polished image began to tremble, her confidence flickering like a weak Wi-Fi signal in a thunderstorm. What was once composed started crumbling right before everyone's eyes, and the drama only got louder from there.
I just was saddened by it, honestly, because I think that response was beneath him. And he was in my office a couple of weeks ago. We're working on something. We're working on a couple of things together. But I think that he is sad and bitter. And I think that it is really sad to exploit. You guys laughing about that? I feel like it's exploiting tragedy. It's exploiting grief. And this is when the city needs to stand.
The irony is almost cinematic. Karen Bass spent years presenting herself as the calm voice of reason, the steady hand guiding Los Angeles through storms of chaos. She built her image as the unflappable mayor, always composed, always in control. But now it seems that same steady pulse she bragged about might have flatlined beneath a mountain of flimsy excuses, awkward explanations, and one painfully inconvenient revelation that tore right through her carefully crafted persona.
Got ICE and Tom Homan's team trying to clean up MacArthur Park. Isn't this your home state, Cannon? And your lovely mayor, Karen Bass, goes out there not to say, thank you, it's riddled with MS-13. Literally no children ever play here because they could get shot. It's become a place where illegal immigrants go to get false IDs and try not to get killed by MS-13. She calls up the head of CPB out there and says, get out. Don't come here. We don't want you. In response to which that guy says, I don't work for you.
When Megyn Kelly digs, she doesn't just scratch the surface. She excavates like a pro uncovering buried treasure. Archaeologists could seriously take notes from her relentless pursuit of truth. She doesn't stop at headlines. She dives deep into the bones, the hidden memos, the clips buried under layers of polished PR. And this time, she unearthed something Karen Bass probably wished had stayed buried 6 feet under. It wasn't a minor slip-up. It was a full-blown, "How did you think you'd get away with that?" moment that made everyone watching question whether politicians ever glance in the mirror before rewriting history. While Los Angeles drowned in potholes and confusion, Karen was busy juggling optics, one so twisted they made people squint and say, "Wait, what?" One second, she's preaching integrity and accountability. The next, her PR mask cracked faster than a phone screen in a blender. Behind it, a storyline so messy even Hollywood writers would say, "Tone it down, that's too obvious." She tried to fix the fallout. Oh, she really did. But no amount of spin could hide the fact that Megyn had already flipped the spotlight. And once that happens, there's no escaping the glare.
She finally holds a presser, and it was a complete disaster. First of all, before I get to the truly disastrous part, listen to her describing herself. Like, I basically got on the back of Superman to come home. Take a listen to Sat 2.
I've been in constant contact with our fire commanders, with county, state, and federal officials. I took the fastest route back, which included being on a military plane, which facilitated our communications. So I was able to be on the phone the entire time of the flight.
Once the audience caught it, there was no going back. They saw everything. The smirk, the awkward pause, that tiny double take that screamed, "Did she just admit that?" It was all right there, and social media went wild. The clips spread faster than celebrity apologies after an awards show, and suddenly everyone turned into an investigator. People who hadn't cared about politics in years were rewinding footage, analyzing tone, and comparing interviews like it was a true crime documentary. Karen Bass, the case of the missing accountability, became the talk of the town. Being exposed for the very thing you've been preaching against is like a fitness coach caught devouring a cheeseburger mid-marathon. You just can't recover from that. Her defenders rushed in, desperate to control the flames, insisting, "She's misunderstood. It's not what it looks like." But it was exactly what it looked like. And that's what made the whole thing even more explosive.
Fastest route home. Are we supposed to be giving credit for the fact that she didn't book too many layovers? This is an absurd person. And you don't have to take my word for it in response to that inanity you just heard. Listen to the mayor. In her time of crisis, her city's time of massive crisis, in directing people where to go if they need information, which they do because their houses are burning and their family members in at least 5 cases are dying. Listen to this idiot.
You could freeze the video at any second and still catch that look. The one every politician gets when their story stops matching their body language. Megyn's breakdown wasn't just sharp, it was surgical. She sliced through the excuses with cool precision. No yelling, no grandstanding, just cold, clean facts that said, "Try to spin this, if you dare." And the beauty of it all? She didn't even need to exaggerate. The absurdity spoke for itself. Only in politics can someone be caught red-handed and still insist, "It's not red, it's bad lighting." Karen's explanations got messier by the minute, twisting around like a confused GPS yelling, "Recalculating integrity. Please make a U-turn." It's almost artistic how predictable it all is. The politician gets caught, denies, blames confusion, and vows to do better. You could set your watch by it. But this time, Megyn wasn't having it. She kept pressing, peeling away the layers until all that was left was pure, unfiltered embarrassment.
Karen Bass was, she's in this spirited competition with Brandon Johnson, who can be the most ineffective mayor. It's impressive, really. in its way. And
Dark horse coming up the third position in the lane, possible Zoran Mamdani. He's running.
The Big Apple. She was a member of the House for a long time and kind of generally well-liked, pleasant person, not considered a heavyweight. And when she ran for mayor, I remember being surprised. She had no executive authority. I didn't think she'd win. She did win.
The reactions were absolutely priceless. Commentators, analysts, and even late-night hosts circled like vultures sensing a feast. Every clip was replayed, every inconsistency magnified, and every excuse dissected in slow motion for the world to see. Karen looked like someone trying to hold a press conference while sinking in quicksand. Every word only dragged her deeper. Of course, she tried the classic move, distract with accomplishments and heartfelt speeches about love for the people. But no amount of "look over there" could compete with Megyn's laser-sharp focus. Once that spotlight hits you, it doesn't move until the story is finished. You'd think politicians would have learned by now. Never try to outwit a journalist who thrives on uncovering contradictions. Megyn made the truth sound both hilarious and horrifying, leaving the audience laughing and questioning everything all at once. This wasn't just reporting, it was pure theater, a flawless masterclass in unraveling a public image without ever raising her voice.
They literally are killing your citizens and getting people addicted to drugs, like innocent Americans. And you're on the side of the dog poop. Like somebody who came through and said, I'm going to clean up all the dog poop so the children can play and they don't have to deal with it anymore. And the mayor came out and said, the dog poop stays. Step away. This is the position she's taking. And it's not just her. You're right. Zoran Mamdani, who is likely to be our next mayor in New York City, is having this clash right now with the sitting mayor, Eric Adams, where Mamdani is saying, I will not work with ICE. I will not funnel any illegals to ICE's way, even if there is a federal detainer.
Even her own supporters started twisting themselves into mental gymnastics worthy of Olympic gold. Maybe she didn't mean it like that, some argued. Maybe Megyn misinterpreted her, others insisted. But the evidence didn't need interpretation. It screamed the truth loud and clear. Karen's follow-up interview was almost painful to watch. She walked in smiling, pretending everything was fine, but the air was thick with unspoken tension. Everyone had already seen the footage, and every deflection only made her look more cornered. It was like political theater turned reality TV, except this time the confessionals were live, and no one was buying the edit. By midweek, the internet had exploded. Memes, screenshots, and remixes flooded timelines. The city practically said, "We were bored. Thanks for the drama." Amid all the chaos, something shifted. People began asking tougher questions, the kind that don't fade with press releases, but linger, echoing every time Karen steps into the spotlight.
Go out there, and Trump picks a fight with Mayor Karen Bass, which was absolutely beautiful. This soundbite's a little long, but watch it play out. They're arguing over how long it's going to take to clean up the fire damage in places like the Pacific Palisades, so people can get back on their properties and get what might still be there, which there is in some cases some debris that's salvageable, see the damage, survey what's left so they can figure out their next move. None of that's being allowed. Watch.
But we are going to move as fast as we can, but we want you to be safe, and we want you to be back in your homes immediately.
But the people are...
That's the thing about being exposed. It doesn't just end when the headlines fade. It lingers, it stains. It becomes a permanent part of your public identity, like a tattoo you can't remove. Megyn Kelly's takedown wasn't about humiliation. It was about accountability, wrapped neatly in the kind of irony that makes the truth go down smoother. She didn't need to yell or insult. She just laid out the facts and let them breathe. And oh, those facts were brutal. Karen's forced smile, her rehearsed answers, and her desperate attempts to control a story that had already sprinted away said it all. Once people see behind the curtain, you can't just close it again and pretend everything's fine. You could almost hear her campaign team sigh as the realization hit. This wasn't just a bad moment, it was a turning point. In a world where politicians serve half-truths like appetizers, Megyn served a 5-course meal of reality, and the audience devoured every bite. Karen might bounce back someday, but this sting will linger with every speech, every interview, every promise of transparency. The irony? The mayor who built her platform on trust tripped over her own talking points in front of everyone.
To be the mayor of Los Angeles. She is too stupid to be in public office. You failed, madam. You failed. You failed to prepare for the crisis. And then when your country and your city needed you, what did you do? Oh, you took the fastest route home with no layovers on a military plane? Great. And when you got there, you were too dumb to realize that URL was a placeholder and then to actually look to your team and say, what is the URL? What is the web address? You are a moron. And I am sorry for our friends in Los Angeles who don't deserve this. I realize they voted for this woman, but I'm going to assume they thought she had two nickels to rub together in between her ears.
The leader who once promised absolute clarity ended up tangled in her own web of contradictions. And the journalist who exposed it didn't even break a sweat. This wasn't just about Karen Bass being called out. It was about the endless political cycle of power, denial, exposure, and spin. Megyn simply held up the mirror, and what stared back was brutally honest. At its core, this moment wasn't just another scandal. It was a reminder that no matter how rehearsed the lines, or polished the image, the truth always finds a way out. Sometimes it sneaks, sometimes it storms in, and sometimes it walks into a studio, sits across from Megyn Kelly, and calmly says, "Good evening." Karen might survive the scandal. Politicians usually do, but her credibility won't recover easily. It'll take a full rebuild, maybe even a total rebrand, something like Karen 2.0. Now with extra accountability. There's strange comfort in knowing that no matter how chaotic politics gets, the truth eventually slips through the cracks. The mask falls, and everyone watching just laughs at the absurdity of it all. Because, in the end, Megyn didn't destroy Karen Bass. She simply let Karen's own contradictions do the job for her.
California is these mealy-mouthed, kale-eating, broccoli-pushing, Birkstock whatever, wearing politicians who can't find another person fast enough to blame. My absolute favorite, though, is the fire chief. She's growing on me. When she's not focusing on her lesbianism, she's actually quite fierce. She is not going down without bringing Mayor Karen Bass with her. And who could blame her?
That's the most satisfying kind of exposure there is. The one where the truth speaks for itself and no gloating is needed. By the time the headlines cooled, Karen was already deep into her lesson learned phase, doing the politician's version of a public apology tour. Suddenly, she was all about transparency again, holding press conferences with the nervous energy of a student retaking a test they swore they passed. The public smiled politely, but everyone knew the truth. We've seen this movie before. Meanwhile, Megyn had already moved on, eyebrow raised just enough to signal, next. Because when you're the one exposing contradictions, you don't need to celebrate. The replay button does that for you. And Karen, she'll keep smiling, shaking hands, and talking about rebuilding trust. But that lingering smirk Megyn left behind will haunt every campaign photo. It's the kind of smirk that whispers, "Remember the receipts." In a city obsessed with perfection, the real entertainment comes when someone trips over their own PR script. Megyn didn't just call her out. She reminded everyone that no slogan can ever outshine the truth, especially when it's caught on camera. And in the grand circus of politics, that's the most brutal and unforgettable punchline of all.